Hello, everybody. Jeff Mason coming to you from St. Louis, and today's episode is my favorite St. Louis Cardinal that you've probably never heard of. So we got Alex Dietrich on the boards over here. Mason Letbetter just did our intro, and this is Jeff Mason coming to you on the microphone today. And we're coming to you from the studios of stlewispodcast.com. That's stlewispodcast.com, doing a great job on holding this podcast or hosting this podcast, so we're real excited. So today we're going to talk about my favorite St. Louis Cardinal that you've probably never heard of, and here's how this happens to me. So I read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, in about 1985. And the company I worked for had a suggested reading list, and they go, you know what, you should probably try to read a book a month. I said, okay, I'll do that. And so I'm looking over the list, and there's this book by Frank Bettcher called How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling. So I grab it, I pick it up, I start reading it. Well, a very profound thing happens in the opening pages of this book. He explains to you how he learned to harness the whole concept of enthusiasm. Now, enthusiasm, I think, is it's really a kind of a term that's been kicked around, footballed a lot. I think a lot of people are fearful of it. I think a lot of people misunderstand it. If you remember our Garrett Atkins interview from the 2nd of January, Garrett even said that he struggles with enthusiasm sometimes, but his genuine enthusiasm pours out through his passion for what he does, and he loves what he does. And when you typically love what you do, you're able to be more enthusiastic just, by nature, just because you're excited about what you do. So, but Frank was presented with a situation where he was a baseball player. He was an aspiring young baseball player, and he got to a certain high level, not the major leagues, and then he tumbled down, and he was almost out of baseball. And one of his managers, and I put this in my book, one of his managers at the lowest level of professional ball said, Frank, if you just put enthusiasm in things you do, you'd be much more successful. I'm paraphrasing. And Frank went out and as I read, won a ball game by being a good, enthusiastic base runner, and he scored the winning run. And the headlines the next day read something to the effect of, Pep Bettcher wins game. And so they explained how, with enthusiasm, he helped the winning team. So Frank started adopting more and more enthusiasm in his baseball career, and he worked his way up to the major leagues in 1910, and he was a third baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals, appeared in 35 games, 89 at-bats, 18 hits, 202 batting average, and unfortunately had to retire because of an arm injury. But he is found in this book. It's a different spelling of his last name. At least this book spelled it, but the spelling is Bettger. Well, Frank meets Dale Carnegie in 1917, and Dale convinces him to go on a speaking tour with him and talk about the concept of some of his stories, but talk about the concept of enthusiasm as well. And I don't know how many people Frank affected. It's tens of thousands of business people throughout his speaking career, and he certainly affected me. But he taught me how to understand injecting enthusiasm into what I do. And I'm going to say this to you as your business. So there's so many business owners out there that are doing what they love. You love you love house painting. You love landscaping. You love maintenance of houses, fixing things. You love building things. You love building websites. You love taking pictures. There's so many passionate people out there. Learn how to let that passion expose itself to your customer base or potential customers as genuine and authentic enthusiasm. Now, enthusiasm is not a physical thing. I mean, you can make it, but that's artificial. If you start, swinging your arms and looking, whistling all the time and looking all, happy and kind of just free flowing and goofy. I mean, I'm sure some people can become enthusiastic through that, but enthusiasm it needs to be genuine and authentic, and it's contagious. How contagious is it? Well, just think about this, that Andrew Carnegie and the Young U.S. Steel Corporation paid Charles Schwab $1 million a year for, by and large, Charles Schwab's ability to arouse enthusiasm in the employees. He was making $1 million when most people, $2,600 annual salary was huge. So it's something that pays dividends if you learn how to utilize it properly, and it really does. I'm gonna share with you something that I did And the byproduct of what I did here was amazing to me. I did a lot of public speaking at the college level in 1988, 89, 90. And I think I went up to Ithaca College up in New York 3 times to speak. And Dr. Susan Rosenthal was kind enough to invite me up. And the last time I came up, I spoke to organizational and behavior classes. And I had a 4-prong discussion. And my 4-prong discussion was on goal setting, was on transferable skills. And one of the elements was enthusiasm. And I expected enthusiasm to get the lowest of any interest level at all. And, as I delivered this whole hour and a half discussion, I really felt that enthusiasm would never be touched. And so Dr. Rosenthal did a very nice thing. She sent back a cover letter with 21 pages of the 85 people who attended this session, and they were to give some feedback to me as the speaker on what they thought about the session. And what amazed me is 58 out of the 85 people referenced enthusiasm and referenced it in a positive way. It was almost as if they hadn't really heard about the concept of injecting enthusiasm into business. So I throw it out there to tell you that right here in St. Louis, a St. Louis Cardinal from 1910 is my favorite ball player of all time to wear the red and white. And this guy just infected me in a positive way with the notion of being enthusiastic. So if you ever want to pick up a book just to learn about that and other things, if you're in sales, this is a great book, Frank Betcher's. It's still out there. You can still get it. And, it's just really something that I think is beneficial to all business people. And again, you have to learn how to make it authentic and make it genuine, not artificial. And it can be done. But at any rate, I just wanted to make sure I exposed that whole concept today, and I'm very proud to have read Frank's book and just very thankful that I did, and I passed it on to you. So, Lost in the Shuffle track for today. I'm a salesman. I drive around a lot, and one of my favorite tunes is I have the windows down. It's great springtime air, early summer air, is a Rare Earth tune. Now, Rare Earth was really a cool band, psychedelic soul. Okay, and they were hired, and they were put on the Motown label, which was kind of cool. But they did a song, "Born to Wander," and if you're a salesman and you're on the road, salesperson and on the road, man, just check this song out, "Born to Wander" by Rare Earth. Dipping back to last week, I just want to reemphasize that the 3Y challenge. I'm from Jersey. What are the 3 Ys? In response, follow up and follow through. It's saying yes, yes, yes to each one of those. But, I'm from Jersey, so it's yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm taking a 3Y challenge, man. It's yeah. It's respond, follow up, follow through. Another shout out has to go to Gina Thorson at Stormy Cromer. The shirt I was wearing last week is a Stormy Cromer shirt. That's StormyKromer.com. I'm telling you, if you've never worn Stormy Cromer plaids, wow. They've got great hats. You learn about the company and the origins of the company. Gene is actually family with the company. Just such a cool story. Great products. If you remember my Silent Business Killer episode, I was wearing a red and black plaid. That was from Stormy Cromer as well. So thank you, Gina. Really appreciate you sending it. Thanks for all the great work you guys are doing up there. And just invite you to come back next week. We're going to have some fun. Remember, we're talking about timeless, simple stuff that helps you maybe make $10,000, $15,000 more each year. Maybe you're a pharmaceutical rep out there and you're looking to go from 140% of quota to 150 and get that trip. Or you're a salesperson in any capacity that wants to achieve more. Or you're a business person that wants to get more return on your investment, whether you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, small business owner, or whether you're the CEO of a larger company. Hey, join in, follow. It's timeless, it's simple, and we have some fun too. So we look forward to seeing you next week. Hold on to your sand. Keep pleasing the customers. Please keep the shiny side up when you're driving. See you next week.